The GOAT is back, guys. Yu-Gi-Oh! By AI, the Twitter/X account that was posting the AI Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards. I'm gonna bring this mic a little bit closer here, don't mind me. Have finally returned from their break that must have lasted over like 7 months at this point. Okay, surely at this point it has in fact been like 7 months since they took their leave of absence. But yeah, welcome back. Yeah, while we're talking about artificial intelligence and Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards that we were created with such, let's use Twitter's artificial intelligence. How do I get the AI summary exactly? Profile summary with Grok. Yu-Gi-Oh! But AI is the mad scientist of Yu-Gi-Oh! Card creation, asking AI to whip up wild, wacky, and sometimes bewildering card text that'll make you question reality. I wouldn't know if I would go that far with questioning reality itself. They've been at this game for over 2.5 years, churning out daily doses of AI-generated card madness until they needed a break for personal reasons. I love how the AI specifically has to mention that. The Twitter, the X AI, not the Yu-Gi-Oh! AI. Let me be frank, it's honestly getting a little scary just how inescapable modern-day generative artificial intelligence has been becoming. Like, if you want to escape it, your only option is to really just go live in a cave. Go live under a rock somewhere. I think that's literally your only hope. Otherwise, otherwise it's just generative AI content everywhere you look. They're all about community interaction, taking requests to tailor their AI's output to fan-favorite archetypes or just plain weird prompts. Yu-Gi-Oh! But AI has been whipping up a storm with posts about legendary monsters and epic tales, from Pumpkin the Mega Monarch to chilling narratives of cold-hearted souls. I'm gonna be honest here, once again. If sure, I love Elon, like, with his, like, stances on, like, pro-free speech. I love how pro-free speech he is. But, honestly, I think Elon just sucks at naming things. I still call X Twitter because I just like the name Twitter better overall. And then there's Grok. Oh, look, I know it's supposed to be this intelligent supercomputer that can just know anything and everything, but Grok sounds more like a caveman than it does a supercomputer. like, come on! I see a guy just walking up to me and just saying, like, "I Grok, you guys talk funny." Like, I just see, like, this Neanderthal who's just learned how to make fire, like, oh, just in awe, like, this fire that he just learned how to make. Okay, so which of the cards have I not seen before? Okay, I've seen the relive the destruction of Yoko. If we scroll further up, okay, it goes... I've seen, like, the pin tweet, like, numerous times. Okay, so yeah, this is recent. We're seeing mentions of White Forest here. That is still an archetype that people definitely play, and it's still very much viable. Sure, most of the time it just feels like it's Ryzeal Malice and Fiendsmith everywhere, and not even like a pure deck, just a few Fiendsmith cards that are just so good they can go into any deck. But every once in a while, yeah, you see, like, White Forest. I think the last time I played against, like, a White Forest deck and against somebody in the regionals, they were also on Fiendsmith. Surprise, surprise. Oh, who could have guessed? Dream Mirror of White Forest. If you control a White Forest monster, target one face-up monster you control. Return it to the hand, and if you control Dream Mirror of Terror, you can look at your opponent's hand. Otherwise, add one Dream Mirror of Joy from your deck to your hand. You can only activate one. Look at your opponent's... Nothing else, but still, looking at your opponent's hand, though. You have to control a specific field spell. You have to play this in White Forest, but the archetype is definitely good enough that you'd be fine playing even just maybe if... Do people play small White Forest packages, or could they, just to accommodate this? And then Dream Mirror, which... When was the last time anyone even played that? Let's be real. I think the archetype, like, debuted in, like, 2019 or something. I don't even know if Dream Mirror really saw any play back then. I certainly just tell doesn't see any play now. Honestly, I do want to just give this a pass. Kind of a loud soundboard. I might need to like turn that a volume. Can I turn down the volume on that a bit? I'd have to see. Not enough to make me play Dream Mirror. Would be cool if it didn't require White Forest. Don't know anything about White Forest. Number 1 Simi Searfan must. Okay, maybe because maybe like if he does play a modern Yu-Gi-Oh, maybe all he sees are like white. Maybe all he sees are like Ryzeals, Malice, and Fiendsmith, because that seems to be like mostly what people want to play. Handed information is a good effect, so you know where to use it. Yeah, handed information in Yu-Gi-Oh is just golden knowledge to have, especially like in the first or even second turn of the game, but I think especially more so the first. But still tied to like an archetype that definitely can see play, and then one that I don't even remember like when the last time somebody played Dream Mirror. That's why, yeah, that's why I'd give it a pass. Even though you get that crucial hand knowledge, you have to play Dream Mirror. I still don't even think that would be worth it to play Dream Mirror. I don't know. Endymion, Lord of the Vineyard, or Vineyard, however we say that. Okay, you can make this with 92 non-link monsters. Gains 800 attack for each plant monster with a different name in your graveyard. Cannot be destroyed by battle except with a plant monster. And if this card attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing battle damage. Rika Sun Avalon going second would be diabolical. Yeah, that has a bunch of plant monsters with different names. And yeah, going second, because you can just attack, and... Yeah, even if they want to hide behind a monster in defense position, they can't. I don't know if it would be super meta, but it would definitely be some sort of rogue deck. Only issue with this card is that it isn't a spellcaster with a focus on spell counter, so it's not Endymion at all. Other than that, it reads like a normal... Exactly. It's not an Endymion card. It does not at all feel like anything that would be related to him. Maybe this has to be like a completely different Endymion from the spellcaster we all know. Dragon Commander Prominence. If you control a Dragon Commander monster, you can special summon this card from your hand only once per turn this way. You can only use each of the following effects once per turn. You can discard this card, add one Dragon Commander from your deck to your hand. A Dragon Commander monster that is synchro or exceed summon using this card on the field as material gains this effect. If this card is sent to the graveyard... Oh, if you want to link off your Xyz or your synchro monster, I guess, go for it. If this card is sent to the graveyard as link material, for your monster whose original type is Dragon, you can target one card your opponent controls. While it is face up on the field, your opponent cannot special summon monsters. Okay, now that could just get stupid, let's be real. Suddenly, just like that, we're gonna lock our opponent out of summoning any monsters. Okay, so how would this work exactly? So what has to be Dragon? And it's a card your opponent controls, so... I don't know, ideally target a spell or trap, something in their back row. Also, I guess, I don't know, ideally no, better yet, target a continuous spell or a continuous trap or a field spell, something that cannot so easily leave the field, because if you target, especially if you target like a weak monster, just crash it into like anything they leave in attack mode. And then just like that, they're free from the lock on special summoning. Okay, so whatever you use to Synchro XC summon, you have to summon like a Dragon Link monster with that. At least it's like one of your opponent's cards, so I think depending on what you target, they may have options to just go and get rid of the card, or maybe... Yeah, I think there's also like more ways to play around just the lockout of special summoning, too. Okay, but if, like, you get rid of the monster that you Link summon, does it keep applying the lock on special summoning if you get rid of the monster that was summoned, the Link monster? This is certainly a more interesting design than just straight up a card that just says your opponent cannot special summon anything. Gotta jump through some more hoops to actually set this guy up, and depending on just which card you choose on your opponent's field, they may have ways to just intentionally get it off their field so they free themselves of the lock, so... This seems a little bold to just saying yes to like a floodgate that just makes it so people can't play the game, but... It feels like there's actually some more like interesting dynamics behind this one. Number 39, Utopia Rising, Defiant Galaxy. So it's a rank 9 we make with, of course, 2 level 9 monsters. You can detach 2 materials from this card. Special summon 1 number monster from your deck or extra deck, but negate its effects. Also, its effects are negated. Yeah. You can only use this effect of number 39, Utopia Rising, Defiant Galaxy, once per turn. While this card has attack greater than its original attack, it is unaffected by your opponent's activated effects while it has no Xyz materials. Okay, so... This is basically Expirally Noir? It reminds me a lot of that already. I mean, that card is stupidly powerful for the fact that it's unaffected by card effects. Even though there are ways to still out the damn thing. I mean, if the deck was like truly unbeatable, then we'd see that everywhere, not just like Ryziel, Malice, and Fiendsmiths. Special summon any number from deck or extra deck, but negate all its effects. Well, this card has attack greater. Yeah, I'm just looking at a comment on the tab on the right, and it's just like, okay, we have a problem here. Somebody, yeah, Jaxa7 managed to point this out before I ever thought about it. We got a problem here. Opponent equips it with like, I don't know, any equip spell that just increases its attack. Okay, actually no, I don't think that's how it works. Actually, no, not exactly. It's unaffected by only activated effects. That attack boost, as far as I know, is just continuous. So it's still gonna have that attack boost, as far as I would know. If it just said unaffected by all effects, what would happen is if you just... opponent equips it with something that boosts its attack, it would go back down to its normal attack because it would be unaffected by the effect that boosts the attack. And then it would be affected again, so its attack would go back up, and then it would become unaffected by that again, and then back to normal. And then it would have to be affected by it again to regain the attack, and then lose it in an endless cycle of just gaining and losing attack. This would basically just be pole position all over again. And typically what's recommended to be done in the case of an infinite loop like this is just remove the card that's... a judge just comes in and sends the card on the field to the graveyard that they deem is the most responsible for causing the infinite loop, which pretty much always ends up being pole position. But that's not actually what's happening here as far as I know. I do imagine attack boosts are continuous and that's not activated effects. still funny to just like think about pole position again. Toradora. Your opponent cannot activate spell or trap cards. Okay, that is honestly unfair, but not completely unfair. Your opponent can still, like, activate monster effects and everything, and, well, I don't know, they can just run this over in battle pretty easily, unless, I don't know, this is backed up by, like, a really good end board. And it's not like it's completely impossible to play under this, but damn, is that brutal. So just this easily lock an opponent out of spell and trap cards, and only the opponent out of spell and trap cards. Oh, and it's a level 2. I just noticed, yeah, it is a level 2, and sprites are still, like, technically a deck. You still see sprites every once in a while, and yes, gigantic sprite into this would just go pretty fucking hard. I'm still gonna say no, though, to printing something like this. I still feel like this is a little bit too pushed. Yeah, especially if we throw sprites into the equation, making this a lot easier to summon. Sweet Jesus, is that a level 2? Yeah, it is. It's still nowhere near as busted as the Salamangreat monster that literally read, your opponent can't activate spells or traps or monster effects. And it was a card you could place in your back row as a pendulum monster. So they could never even run it over in battle anyways. All they could do is summon monsters, and that alone, they can't attack anything that's in the back row, so... I don't know, at least there is some counterplay to something like this, but especially in decks that can just consistently search this up and make this part of their end board every single game, I don't think it should get a pass. Predapal Takeover. If you have 3 or more Predap monsters in your graveyard, activate one of these effects. Special summon one Predap monster from your deck, but negate its effects during the end phase. Even if this card leaves the field. Special summon from your graveyard one Predap monster that is treated as a Predapal monster with a different name by your opponent's card. Even okay, let me read this second effect again because I don't. I'm gonna need a moment to read this one again. Special summon from your graveyard one Predap monster that is treated as a Predapal monster with a different name by your opponent's card, even if this leaves the field. This second sentence is honestly just a bit too much to wrap my head around. I mean, if we left that off, it would have... If we just, like, left it only at special summon one Predap monster from your graveyard, then it would have been perfectly fine. I'm just a little bit too confused by the last part on the graveyard effect, or summon from the graveyard. Alright, moving on. Extender Elf? That does not look like a rock type to me. Once per turn, you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls. Change that target's attack to 0. Also changes defense to 0. Oh, so this is just a generic level 8 synchro. Once per turn, you can banish one extender monster from your graveyard. Special summon one level 4 or lower monster with 0 attack and defense from your deck. It gains 1,000 attack and defense. When this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can target one card your opponent controls. Destroy it. You can only use this effective Extender Elf once per turn. Okay, it is a once per turn, but a soft once per turn. Let's just say you theoretically got like 2 of these out, or this goes to the graveyard and then comes back later. You could just always use the effect again. Special summon one level 4 or lower monster with 0 attack and defense from your deck. Okay, so at least that does narrow down all of the potential targets for this thing to summon. Oh, the stat nuke is permanent. Lover or hater, she do be extending. It feels pushed, but it doesn't feel too pushed, if you ask me. I did have to do a little bit of thinking there. Earthbound Geoglyph. Neither player has to pay life points during the standby phase for Earthbound Immortal monsters. As far as I remembered, they never did require you to pay life points in the first place to keep them around. As far as I know, they required you to have a... Funnily enough, this is a field spell. They required you to have a field spell around to keep them on the field, and funnily enough, I'm looking at one right now. This technically lets them stay on the field. It's a field spell. It's just... that's all it is for them. It's just... that's all it is. Period, actually. Not a single Earthbound makes you pay life points, let alone, the more specifically, Earthbound Immortals. Alright, moving on. Recharger Mecha Dragon, which you fusion summon with one Dark Dragon monster. I believe this is the first time I've seen a fusion monster that requires exactly one fusion material. Must be fusion summoned. You can only use each of the following effects of Recharger Mecha Dragon once per turn. When this card is special summoned from the graveyard, you can target one monster your opponent controls, destroy it, and if you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to half the attack it had in the field. If this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can target one Recharger monster in your graveyard. Special summon it, ignoring its summoning conditions. What still really just gets me here is the fact that this is a fusion monster that's made with... It's technically not even a fusion, because it's like, we're fusing one Dark Dragon monster with... what exactly? It's technically not even a fusion of anything. It's just one Dark Dragon monster somehow turns into this. Somehow. Pretty sure there are no fusion summon spells for fusion summoning from the graveyard. Well, you have to fusion summon it first properly. I guess it can just die by any means later on, and then if you fusion summoned it correctly, you can then revive it. I didn't even notice that it could just revive itself. Okay, at least it's a hard once per turn. It can revive itself, but if, let's just say, it gets destroyed by battle or card effect a second time, it won't be reviving itself. Okay, so it's still perfectly fair then. It's just really funny to see the fusion monster with exactly one fusion material. It just feels like a prerequisite that it needs to have at least two. And then this guy here is just fusing with one Dark Dragon somehow. Louis Slav. Swordmaster of the Ice Barrier. While you control another Ice Barrier monster, except Louis Slav, Swordmaster of the Ice Barrier, your opponent's monsters cannot attack. You can only use each of the following effects of him once per turn. If this card is normal or special summon, you can add one Ice Barrier trap from your deck to your hand. How many of those even exist? I know there's just one called Ice Barrier. If your opponent activates a card or effect in response to your Ice Barrier monster's effect while this card is in your graveyard, you can banish this card, then target one spell or trap your opponent controls, banish it. Okay, maybe it sounds a little, like, crazy to just not allow your opponent to attack at all, but this thing's actually just very easy to just destroy by card effects anyways, or even put back in the hand or banish. First effect was good a decade ago. Battle Nullers are kind of useless nowadays. Yeah, especially unless, I don't know, you can back that up with just protection from it just being removed from the field so easily, which this doesn't really have any. Second effect can search... oh, 2 cards. One that I've never even heard of. Is this maybe one that's gonna come out soon? Is this card, like, not even out yet in the TCG, the Frozen Domain leading to the Ice Barrier? And then the second one, like, because I saw that in Rarity Collection 1, Ice Barrier. Third one is situational, which just holds it back from being, like, a problem. So yeah, card is fine. Worm Betrayer. This card can be treated as 2 tributes for the tribute summon of a reptile monster. If this card is tributed, you can send 2 reptiles with different attributes from your deck to the graveyard. If this card is in your graveyard except the turn it was sent there, you can banish this card. Then target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls. Treat it as a tuner until the end of the turn. Weird third effect that what is the point of just making their monster a tuner on... Specifically, their monster a tuner until the end of the turn. Where you're not really, like, synchro summoning with your opponent's monsters typically, and they're typically not synchro summoning on, I don't know, your turn. Imagine the opponent wanting to synchro summon, but the Worm Betrayer turns their non-tuner into a tuner. Until the end of the turn, then it just goes back to being normal, so this last effect, as far as I know, in like 99% of board states, it's not going to achieve anything. Sure, you can also just send 2 monsters from your deck to the graveyard. This would be absolutely busted if it wasn't reptile-type monsters, which, as far as I know, don't really get too much good graveyard support. Because if they gave reptile monsters, like, insane effects when they hit the graveyard, Snake Rain would immediately become a problem. A card that you discard anything for cost, discard 1 card from hand for cost, send 4 reptiles from deck to graveyard. Yeah, he's fine too. Another perfectly reasonable card. So these, of all of these ones, I have in fact seen already. Yeah, funnily enough, I was just roasting this card so hard because who plays Gladiator Beasts these days? Who's playing Gladiator Beasts? Nobody plays Gladiator Beasts. And then fast forward a couple months, ooh, Supreme Darkness, they have Gladiator Beast support in that set. That's still, like, I don't think anyone's really bothering to play the new Gladiator Beast support because, again, it's just mostly Ryzeal, Malice, and Fiendsmith. And the other 2 cards just were made up because of the AI hallucinating. Oh yeah, this was the card that just made it so your opponent couldn't play the game. Technically, yeah, I'm pretty sure you could also search this off Salamangreat Circle. It's just what we need. 6 copies of a card that just say your opponent can't play the game. I was about to say Signet Mining also, but I think that only works with level 4 or lower Cyberse monsters. Signet Mining. Yeah, it does only add level 4 or lower monsters. That's what I thought. I'm almost done scrolling down. Okay, I do remember also seeing Cyclone. I think this one too, and this one. I don't recognize this one right here? The UA All-Star Warrior. Which you just overlay any 2 warrior monsters with different attributes to go into this rank 5. If this card is Exceed Summon using only UA monsters as material, you can banish 1 UA monster from your graveyard, then target 1 monster your opponent controls. Its attack becomes half its original attack until the end of this turn. You can only use each of the following effects once per turn. When your opponent activates a card or effect that includes an effect that special summons a monster, you can detach 1 material from this card and negate the activation. If this card in its owner's possession is destroyed by an opponent's card, either by battle or card effect, you can target 1 for some reason, a Utopia monster in your graveyard to special summon. A little funny how it's just only caring about the attributes of the monsters that you use to overlay. where pretty much just about every other Xyz monster I've ever seen typically just cares about the monsters having the same level as the rank of what you're trying to summon. But what do I know? Oh, a Cyber Dragon Synchro monster. Which instead of using the tuner, you just use the Cyber Dragon. And then one or more non-tuner machine monsters. Is this like the only synchro that like is this maybe like the only synchro that uses like entirely non-tuner monsters to go summon? When a player special summons a monster, you can target one of your Cyber Dragon monsters that is banished during your graveyard, special summon it. Once per turn, you can declare one card name, then target one monster you control. Its battle position cannot be changed until the end of the next turn. Okay, so we're literally just declaring random names for actually no reason. We just have to come up with like a we have to name a random card to use the effect that actually harms one of our monsters, just hampers its performance. So yeah, first things first, you don't really even want to use the effect to just make it so your own monster can't change its battle position. But first things first, you gotta declare a card name, like, I don't know, Fiendsmith Engraver. I choose my own monster, now I can't go to defense mode. We're literally just throwing random card names out for nothing. Also, I did notice that the effect to special summon your Cyber Dragons was not once per turn. But if they just get rid of the Cyber Dragon Accelerator with a card effect anyways, then they don't have to worry about you just spamming the board with your Cyber Dragons anyways. The solution just seems simple enough. Just find a way to remove this from the field. Alright, we have a Magistus Trap card here. Magistus Domain. Each time a spell card or effect is activated, immediately after it resolves, gain 1,000 life points, and if you control a Magistus monster, inflict 500 damage to your opponent. During your main phase, you can special summon one Magistus monster from your hand or graveyard, then if you control another Magistus monster, equip one Magistus monster from your extra deck to it. You can only use this effect once per turn, so every time a spell card or effect is activated, you gain 1,000 life points. For every single spell card that gets activated. Then if you're playing Magistus monsters, if you can just, I don't know, rapid fire off like enough spell cards quickly enough, can you really just easily like activate 16 spell cards or effects in a single turn? Is there a way to just, I don't know, do some dumb FTK with this? Yeah, is there a combo to just activate the same spell like over and over again to just pretty much kill your opponent on the spot? My gut's telling me that there might be. I feel like if we can only use the cards that aren't banned, it might require some intricate setup, but I feel like if someone tried hard enough, they could actually break this. On top of you gaining infinite life points, if you control a Magistus monster, you can just find a way to loop any spell card or spell card effect, just activate it over and over again. Okay, I was about to say Butterfly Dagger Elma with Gearfried the Iron Knight, but yeah, that's precisely why Butterfly Dagger Elma is banned. It's just too easy to just, with Gearfried the Iron Knight, activate it over and over again to get infinite spell activations. Pair that with Royal Magical Library to just get spell counters as much as you like and draw as many cards as you like. And then draw through your entire deck. Yeah, there's a reason why the Butterfly Dagger Elma's banned. That's one example, but yeah, it's using a banned card. Labyrinth Enforcer. 2 or more Fiend monsters must either be fusion summoned or special summoned from your extra deck to your opponent's field by attributing the above cards you control. In which case, you do not use polymerization. When this card is special summoned, destroy as many spell or traps your opponent controls as... Okay, so... We're talking about a deck that is hyper-focused on just setting a bunch of trap cards? Why would we just summon a monster to our opponent's field that will destroy our spells and traps? I've never played Labyrinth, but... As someone who's played against the deck numerous times, who, like, knows how the deck functions, they want to keep those spells and traps around. And also inflict some burn damage for each card destroyed. If this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon one fiend monster from your deck or extra deck, except Labyrinth Enforcer, ignoring its summoning conditions. You can only use this effect of Labyrinth Enforcer once per turn. Any fiend from deck or extra deck, you say. And ignoring its summoning conditions, you say. This isn't going to be broken at all. I would totally not just see people like, I don't know, spamming Vanity's Fiend so their opponent can't special summon anything. This wouldn't be broken at all, right? So you can search Waking the Dragon off Lady Labyrinth and then pop it yourself? Okay, maybe that's one spell or trap you want to actually have get destroyed. Oh, okay, this gets even more broken if you just combo it with Waking the Dragon. That's actually a spell or trap you want destroyed. Yeah, Lady Labyrinth just searches the Waking the Dragon, and then she's also one of the monsters you tribute to summon this to the opponent's field, to then destroy your own Waking the Dragon, and then you're just putting any monster from your extra deck onto the field for free. And then, of course, there's the last part. It's like a lab player's worst nightmare until you pop it, then it's broken. I know people usually don't run Waking the Dragon, but I do. And I think with a card like this, if you could just easily summon something to the opponent's field that then goes and destroys your spell and trap cards under their name, I think people would. I think that would actually make people start running Waking the Dragon, probably. That could do it. Paleozoic Shrine. As requested by Chamber of Eyes, the Paleozoic field spell. All Paleozoic monsters on the field gain 300 attack and defense. Once per turn, you can excavate the top card of your deck, and if it's a trap, add it to your hand, otherwise send it to the graveyard. All the Paleozoics, as far as I know, they're like trap cards, so that makes sense. If a trap card is sent from your deck to the graveyard by a card effect. Okay, but we're adding all the traps to the hand and sending the other cards to the graveyard, so... If a trap card is sent from the deck to the graveyard, but you'll have to find some other way to do it. You can special summon this card as a normal monster. This card is not treated as a trap card. I don't know what would make you think that it in fact was ever treated as a trap card in the first place. If summoned this way, this card is unaffected by monster effects. But it's got pretty weak stats, so... You can just run this over in battle easily enough. Also, banish it when it leaves the field. You can only use the effect of Paleozoic Shrine once per turn. Yep. That is a perfectly reasonable AI card. Ooh, a Horus card. Hieratic Dragon Lord Horus. A level 8 dragon ritual which you can ritual summon with Hieratic Seal of the Bloodstained Ruler. When a spell or trap card or effect is activated, you can negate the activation if you do destroy that card. Okay, at least it's a hard once per turn. If this card is destroyed by battle or card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon one dragon monster from your hand or deck, except Hieratic Dragon Lord Horus. Okay, so find a way to just get this off the field that doesn't involve actually destroying it, unless you want to give your opponent any dragon from their deck, better yet, or hand. But no, really, like, preferably, like, special summon from the deck is a lot more powerful. If you have the ritual spell you use to summon this thing with in your graveyard, you can banish this card and one Hieratic Seal monster from your graveyard. Then target one ritual monster in your graveyard except this. Special summon it. Okay, but it is a ritual monster. Okay, sure, like, sure it's stupidly powerful to go summon any. And yeah, specifically a dragon, because that may very well be one of the most supported monster types in the entire game. So of all the monster types to just special summon anything from the deck, dragon probably gives you some of the, like, by far the best options I can only imagine. But it is tied to a ritual monster. And there are plenty of ways to just get rid of monsters that don't involve, like, outright destroying them, so... It can be played around, at least. Okay, it does negate, like, one spell like trap per turn, but still, I do see this being possible to still, like, play around. TG Stealth Sleeper, which is a machine warrior, which you make with 3 monsters with different names, this Link 4, so 1 Link 2 and then like 2 other monsters, I guess, all with different names. If a monster is special summoned face up, you can declare 1 card type. Negate the summon if you do... Holy shit. Okay. That's not so busted. You can only negate 1 special summon per turn. But for some reason you have to declare the card type. But there's no point in actually declaring a card type. No matter what card type you declare, if you want to negate the special summon of a face-up monster, then you can just do that. If this card is sent to the graveyard as link material, I don't know, if we want to link off our Link 4, we can always do that. Then we can draw 1 card and add 1 Tech Genesis monster from deck to hand. You can only use each effect of TG Stealth Sleeper once per turn. A little funny that it has like 2 monster types and like the same monster type actually twice. So is this just like technically a machine and warrior at all times? Yeah, as soon as I saw the first effect I was like, uh-oh, this is absolutely busted. And then I read further down and saw that it's at least a hard once per turn. Declare monster spell trap for what exactly? I don't know, we just declare it. Brotherhood of the Fire Fist. Cardinal. 2 level 4 Fire Fist monsters. You can detach 1 material from this card. Draw 1 card, then return 1 card in the field to the bottom of the deck. Face up! Except Brotherhood of the Fire Fist Cardinal. For the rest of the turn, your opponent cannot activate cards or the effects of cards with the same name as that card. You can only use this effect once per turn during your main phase. If this card has any of the preceding cards as materials, you can activate Fire Formation cards without flipping them face up. Don't we typically already activate the cards without flipping them face up anyways? I don't even know what the point of that last effect is. I think this is fine too. There are probably some interesting synergies. Maybe, I don't know, you could even like put some of your own cards onto the bottom of your deck too. If you think it's, I don't know, gonna be like a card that might be in your opponent's hand or on their field or something. I don't know, if someone really doesn't want to get hit with an Ash Blossom, you could theoretically summon that to your field and then just put it on the bottom of the deck with this card's effect, and then lock your opponent out of using that card. If they have, they'll probably have Ash Blossom, let's be real. Okay, so yeah, I was looking at the cards during the week where the AI guy was just reply with an archetype and a card type you wish to see for it. And then just making a bunch of AI-generated cards based on what random users on Twitter requested. So, spirit dragon. A wandering dragon that bears no ill will and is definitely not a bad person. I like how it says person instead of dragon, because if you did use dragon instead, well, good thing it didn't use dragon. Definitely not a bad person. Negative defense, though. That was probably like the next thing I really noticed. No, better yet, that was like the first thing I noticed on this card. Negative defense. We don't know how that works exactly. I do love that flavor text, especially the bit about not being a bad person. But I don't know how negative defense works, and I don't even feel like just spending any time trying to figure it out. Conveal. Normal trap. If a monster is special summoned, you can pay 1,000 life points to draw one card. If this card is not on the field at resolution, you cannot activate the effects of monsters on the field that were special summoned by this card's effect. Except... yeah, I just realized, okay, this card can't even special summon any monsters, so if this card's not on the field bit, that's never gonna come up, because this doesn't actually special summon anything. Pay 1,000 life points to draw one card, and you can only activate one per turn. And it's a normal trap. Yeah, this would maybe be playable if it was a continuous trap, but it's literally just the worst Jar of Greed. Ally of Justice, enemy monster card, Mobile Suit Deville. One Ally of Justice tuner and one or more non-tuner monsters. Okay, I count 10 stars on this thing. Once per turn, during your main phase, you can target up to 2 light monsters your opponent controls. Your opponent skips their next main phase 1. Yo. Okay, but it's not like you'll be able to really easily do anything with this if you're going first. Oh no, unless there's a combo to just put not just 1 but 2 light monsters onto your opponent's side of the field on the very first turn of the game. I feel like that will require you just jumping through some hoops to actually make that happen. When your opponent activates the effect of a light monster, you can negate the activation. And if you do destroy it, then you can special summon 1 dark monster from your deck! Except Ally of Justice enemy monster card, Mobile Suit Deville. That... okay, no, that's insane. This is not even once per turn, though. Holy crap. Pretty much, if your opponent's just playing, like, all light monsters... okay, they would have spells and traps, I guess, to get rid of this thing. But let's just say if they don't actually draw into any other spells and traps, I can just remove this, and if basically all their monsters are light, you can just negate all their monster effects, and just, I don't know, special summon any dark monster from your deck. And if it were like any other attribute still, that would be batshit insane, but what makes this even more batshit insane is that, yeah, it's dark monsters. Probably, if I had to guess, probably the strongest attribute overall in the entire game. Most thematically appropriate syndrome for Ally of Justice. Super racist towards light monsters. Summons any dark monster from the deck. Still balanced because you need to use an Ally of Justice tuner. Now if only the archetype itself was playable. Target them, just to be sure. So yeah, your opponent has to have 2 light monsters on the field for you to just skip their main phase 1. It's funny how this has the potential to be beyond busted, but 1 Ally of Justice tuner still wouldn't make them playable. I don't know. Okay, maybe I think if a card like this did exist, maybe they could be like 1 or 2 good cards away from actually being a meta threat. Secresoterica. That is a field spell. When this card is activated, you can add one Esoterica monster from your deck to your hand. Once per turn, you can target one Esoterica card you control. You can target the field spell itself, by the way. Discard one Esoterica spell. It could be another copy of this if it's in your hand, and if you do destroy that card. If an Esoterica card you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can target up to 2 Esoterica monsters in your graveyard, special summon them. You can only use each effect of Secresoterica once per turn. You can only activate one Secresoterica per turn. I guess? I guess? Yeah, we would just have to assume that this was actually like an archetype that, I don't know, existed. Except it doesn't. Dark Spider! We got a vanilla fusion, level 6 vanilla fusion that you make with the thing that feeded on disaster and a Man of Steel that somehow become a Dark Spider. Now I'm trying to imagine what the thing that feeded on disaster would look like. I don't know, that could be pretty much just... That looks like a thing that could pretty much just be just about anything. And then the Man of Steel. I don't know, I picture like some golem made out of steel. Either that or I picture Superman. Neither of those being fused with whatever the thing that feeds on disaster is would make any sense to come out looking like this. Still perfectly in line with the old vanilla fusion monsters from back in the day that look nothing like the fusion materials you used to summon them. I think one of my favorite ones is that we have like a witch in this dark forest and then this like lady of faith. We have this witch and this lady that fuse together to make this guy shredding on a guitar, that being Musician King. Like, how do you fuse 2 ladies together with polymerization and end up with some guy playing basically guitar? Like, where did the guitar come from? Yeah, Musician King, look him up yourself. Trust me. Gagaku Punk Crusher. Doesn't look like a rock, but okay. You can special summon this card from your hand by attributing 1 punk monster. Once per turn you can pay 800 life points, so it's already on theme with paying the life points. Then target 1 punk monster you control in the extra monster zone. This card gains attack equal to the original attack of that monster until the end of this turn. If this card on the field is destroyed by a card effect and sent to the graveyard, destroy all monsters your opponent controls. Okay. That does seem pretty strong. But then I do remember there are cards like that that just exist in the game already. And apparently they don't even see that much play. Sure. I think this guy's fine. Breaker, the Dark Magician. Incredibly boring card, not what this bot is wanted for. Bring back the bangers like Boon of the Royal Knights. Boon of the... Did I see this one yet? Boon of the Royal Knights. When you take battle damage from an opponent's battle, boxing, or showmanship, discard 1 card. If the losing player has 2,500 or more cards in their hand, the player who discarded their entire hand last turn can activate this card from their hand. This is never gonna happen. You can't have more than 60 cards in a deck even, let alone 2,500. And how would you even get them in your hand? Let's be real. So let's ignore that. If the losing player has 25, here we go again with the 2,500 or more cards in their hand, and not including flip monsters. So we would have to, first things first, count all the cards in their hand and then just look through each and every one card in their hand to make sure not a single one of those 2,500 cards are flip monsters. Except we would never have to do that because nobody's going to have 2,500 more. I already said that nobody's going to have that many cards in their hand. You can banish this card from your nose. Sure, let me just stick this Yu-Gi-Oh card up my nose so I can just banish it from my nose. We have to put Yu-Gi-Oh cards in our nose now to activate some of their effects? Like, would a Yu-Gi-Oh card even fit inside your nostril? I don't think so. I don't know, unless maybe you just roll it up or something and like... Okay, do we have a Yu-Gi-Oh card? Do we have a Yu-Gi-Oh card? I have a random... I'm just gonna look around my room for a Yu-Gi-Oh card. I just looked on one of my shelves and I have... Oh, a pot of greed. Can I even put a Yu-Gi-Oh card up my nose to banish it from my nose to pay the cost on this damn thing? How would this fit up my nostril anyways, unless... I was thinking maybe just roll it up or something, but can you roll it up? Maybe just have to fold it a bunch of times. Yeah, I'm gonna just fold this card a bunch of times, I guess. Folding up a perfectly good pot of greed that can only be played in GOAT format. Just fold it up, fold it up, fold it up. It might fit up my nostril. Pot of greed might fit up my nostril. Here's the card. You can banish this card from your nose. It's gotta go up your nose first. And I pretty much just completely ruined this card so it could go up my nostril. Now, forgive me for what I'm about to do. Ah, there we go. Here we go. Let's banish this card from my nose. To special summon one Royal Knight monster from my deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. But I cannot special summon monsters from the deck except Knight monsters. You can only use the effect of Boon of the Royal Knights once per turn. The card makes no goddamn sense. Okay, so let's get back to the quote-unquote more boring card. So it's a Spellcaster Link 3 we make with 2 monsters with different types and different attributes. If this card is Link Summon, you can discard 1 card during the end phase of this turn, add 1 Dark Magician or 1 card that specifically lists Dark Magician in its text from your deck to your hand, which you can only do once per turn. Once per turn, you can target 1 spell trap your opponent controls to destroy it. Perfectly, like... This reads like a perfectly normal, balanced, realistic Yu-Gi-Oh card that could just exist in the game and no one would really care. Two-Mouth Dark World. This looks like it's got nothing to do with Dark World, but let's carry on. Is the guy on the right like one of the 3-legged zombies or something? I think I recognize the guy on the right. He might be 3-legged zombies, but I'm not sure. And then there's the guy on the left who I have no idea who he is. Alright, so what's the lore behind these two? They look like they're... Are they in love? I don't know, it looks like a little heart, suggesting these two guys might be in love. Known as a medicine man over-delivering high fructose, he is known for his extreme medicine. C. Dinosaur Biotechnology Incorporated is a division of BioWare, created by Dr. Frank Up King. The two are one-dimensional, have a tough-as-nails monster battle in the Pendulum Zone in Dragon Ball Z. The other is a Witcher with a horn that shoots a sickly rain of acid. The what? And the what in the Pendulum Zone? Where's the... I was not ready for the crossover with Dragon Ball Z. Also, what is BioWare and what is Dinosaur Biotechnology and who the hell is Dr. Frank Up King? Okay, so which is the one who's Frank Up King and which is the one that shoots the rain of acid? Not gonna lie, Dr. Frank Up King is a crazy good pun. I think this card is gonna run into some copyright difficulties. Good for them. They got a stroke reading the flavor text. This looks like something out of Rush Duel, so okay, this is actual card art? So that is actually a real piece of card art. It came from Rush Duel. I never played Rush Duel, so that's why I've never seen this one before. I've seen like barely any Rush Duel cards because I don't play it. So what are these? Besides just random monster names that the AI came up with? Okay, so I'm guessing the AI saw Goku N. Okay, I do remember this at least. The first one being a real card, so the AI is just reading monster names. It sees Goku, and then it's thinking Dragon Ball Z, so it just says... Yeah, once it starts thinking Dragon Ball Z, it's just like, oh, Krillin! He's from Dragon Ball Z. Sure, let's make a malevolent mech called Krillin. Goku's from Dragon Ball Z, so's Krillin. Okay, we're gonna make a Krillin. Mech Knight Blue Sky, the True Draco Master. Mech Knight Crusadia Avian. Mech Knight Blue Sky, the Dragon's Apprentice. Mech Knight Crusadia Executor. These are just like a bunch of random names that AI came up with, right? It just keeps going, doesn't it? Now, what would a romantic sarcophagus look like? Iwas. Iwas Baby. Iwas Dominance. Iwas Fiend. Iwas Flammability. Iwas Guilt. Iwas Lament. Iwas Supplication. Iwas' Spiritual Force. Who even is Iwas? Apparently they got a kid. They have a fiend. They're guilty of something. They're lamenting, I guess, somebody's death. Hopefully not the baby. They have spiritual force. I don't know, they're also apparently easy to set on fire. Dragon Ball Super. Okay, another Dragon Ball card. Get Chelsea Manning held in custody! Normal Trap. The King of Freezing Waves. The Left Hand of the Cattle Call. One of these is not like the others. Chelsea Manning, that's a real person, right? American activist and whistleblower. Is that why the AI wants to get her held in custody? Oh, she was actually sentenced for... Oh, I guess she just released some confidential information or something. Historic story of whistleblower Chelsea Manning. Spent 35 years in a maximum security... She must have released, like, confidential government secrets. Classified document disclosure to WikiLeaks, so that's why they want to get her held in custody. I don't know, documents detailing how the government spies on us, for example. Or, not us, but spies on its own citizens. Raviel, Lord of the Fittest! Raviel, Lord of the Plunder Pact. Raviel, Lord of the Ranks. Raviel, Lord of the Salamis. Raviel, Lord of the Sky. Raviel, Lord of the Skyway. Raviel, Lord of the Rust Belt. I don't know what's my favorite, Lord of the Fittest or Lord of the Salamis. Okay, now we're just getting, like, cards again, not just names. Pendulum Man, the master of all Caliberry. So level 4 Fiend Pendulum. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can destroy one face-up monster your opponent controls. And if you do, inflict 500 damage to your opponent. quick effect. You can target one face-up monster on either player's field that has a pendulum scale. So you mean a pendulum monster. And one monster on each player's field that has an attack equal to or lower than the attack of that monster, except Pendulum Man. Destroy them. So that would destroy, like, what, 3 cards? Ideally target, like, a Pendulum monster with high attack. And then 2 monsters with lower attack, 1 on each player's field. So you'd have to get rid of one of your own monsters to make this work. To potentially destroy 2 of your opponent's cards if they're playing a Pendulum. If they're playing a Pendulum deck. I do not see a lot of those running around these days, so... I believe that's fine. Who is this sexy man? Looks really handsome though, Pendulum Man. His fashion sense is definitely on point. I gotta give him that. Oh, I didn't even read the pendulum effect yet. Once per turn, if your opponent adds a card from the deck to their hand except by drawing it while the card is face up on the field, or pendulum summon this turn, even if not, you can add 1 Allure Queen monster from your deck to your hand. Only once per turn, and who's really playing Allure Queen, so yeah, this is fine too. The Unending Movement of Scales. When this card is activated, you can add 1 Uncarnated monster from your deck to your hand. Tribute 1 Uncarnation monster or 1 CSL. Then target 1 card in your graveyard or up to 3 cards in any graveyards. If you tributed a CSL, banish them, then draw 1 card. If those cards sent from the field to the graveyard, you can reveal 1 CSL from your deck. Special summon 1 Uncarnation monster from your hand, ignoring its summoning conditions. You can only use each effect of the Unending Movement of... I just don't know what the hell a CSL is supposed to be. Reborn Acorn. I don't really see the resemblance to this in an Acorn, honestly. Question mark defense. With no effect, just stating, like, what that question mark is actually equal to. If this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, add 1 Rite of Aramisir from your deck to your hand. Oh, so basically another way to get into the Brave Engine. But it's gotta get destroyed by battle first and sent to the graveyard. I don't know, just use the Water Enchantress to get there. Has to be destroyed by battle, like one of the worst ways to search. At least it's cute. Yeah, what he's... At least it's cute. Yeah, what Spike V said. Spike Vane? Yeah, what they said. Synchron Ritual. This card can be used to ritual summon any ritual monster. You must also tribute monsters from your hand or field whose total levels equal or exceed the level +1 of the ritual monster you ritual summon. Okay, so we need to, I don't know, if we want to ritual summon a level 8, we need to get up to like 9 stars worth of material. So the drawback is you need like an extra stars worth of material to just ritual summon any ritual monster. Yeah, that's hardly a drawback, honestly. If you control a monster other than the ritual monster, you can also send Synchron monsters from your deck to the graveyard as material. Holy crap. Send a bunch of monsters from deck to graveyard to ritual summon. Like, you can just send, like, a lot of monsters from your deck to the graveyard, I just realized. They have to be Synchrons, but still, like, you can just send as many as you like from the deck to the graveyard if you just have any monster out. You can send as many Synchrons from your deck to the graveyard as you like if you have any ritual monster in hand to ritual summon. It's like, I don't know about this. Also, put enough cards into your graveyard to put Painful Choice to shame. If you have, like, Even if you have like 20 monsters in your deck, if they're all synchrons, sure, just dump all 20 monsters into your graveyard. Fuck it. We ballin'. Uncarnation Ritual. We're not gonna see CSLs again, right? This card is used to ritual summon Uncarnation, the ending nightmare. You must also tribute monsters from your hand or deck. Hold the phone, hold the phone. Tribute monsters from your deck if you want, whose total levels equal 8 or more. The level of the monster ritual summoned by this effect becomes the total levels of monsters used for its ritual summon. So we have the monster we need to summon and then this card in the hand. We can send literally anything from our deck to the graveyard. As many monsters as we like. You can shuffle this card into the deck, then target one Uncarnation monster in your graveyard, special summon that monster. Worth noting here is the sheer amount of nonsense you could pull off. Pre-preparation of... yeah. There's a card that lets you just search up a ritual spell and the ritual monster who's specifically mentioned on that ritual spell that it can summon. So pre-preparation of rites. Just one card gets you to both this and the monster that you need to pair with it to summon. So you can get to this... okay, you don't even need to go, like, draw into 2 cards then. Pre-prep, just add this. Fuck it, pre-prep. Add this and the ritual monster that doesn't actually exist. Activate the ritual spell. Put any number of monsters that you want from your deck into your graveyard. Set up your graveyard however you see fit. Wait, you can send your whole deck to the graveyard with this, no? No, just only all your monsters if you want. Or as many monsters as you need to put in your graveyard. Only the monsters, but still. Shuffle this card from where? If we went strictly off the card text, this would be amazing to... If we went strictly off the card text, this would be amazing to tribute every single monster in your deck to mill them all. The game rules state that ritual spell tributes cap out once you fulfill the minimum. Is that really how well, I don't dabble with the ritual archetype, so... is that really how it works? So once you've tributed something and you've gone above the minimum level requirement, you cannot keep going? You have to just stop at that point? You can't just go, like, fuck it, everything? Milling 8 level 1s are a bunch of djinns, though. You could even mill, like, 7 level 1s than any other monster. Because even if you mill 7 level 1s, you still haven't hit the minimum requirement yet, so that last one could theoretically still be anything, and then you hit the requirement and you have to stop. Still probably busted, though, just sending any combination of monsters you like, whose levels, like, cap out at 8 from your deck to the graveyard. Well, you could just do, like, any combination that gets to, like, 7 stars. And then the last one is just whatever the hell you want. There's still, like, probably so many ways to just steal games with just milling any combination of monsters almost from your deck to the graveyard. So we have Dynamis Dreads. They make this with 2 level 4 monsters with different attributes. Once per turn, when an Xyz monster you control destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can attach that monster to this card's material. Okay. You can use each of the following effects once per turn. You can attach 1 material monster from this card. Take 1 water psychic monster from your deck and either add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard. You can search Ogre, or you can be based. What the hell is this thing? Pandaborg. I've never seen this card before. Isn't there like another... are the mutants like psychic types as well? And I think one of them's water, so I think that's another target for this. But yeah, I can only think of 3 monsters off the top of my head. Well, 2, because... Okay, Kashira Ogre, I remember that's a water psychic. One of the mutants, I think, also. But Pandaborg, I've never heard of it. If this card is in your... Okay, it's never going to be in your hand. Let's just skip reading the rest of it. Black Dragon's Ninja, who you make with Ninja Defense Position. That is a fucking bizarre ass name for a card. And one or more non-tuner monsters. If the synchro summoned card destroys an opponent's defense position monster by battle, you can attack directly with Red Eye synchro monsters this turn. That is, again, like, very oddly specifically mentioning Red Eye synchro monsters for some reason. Ah, yes, the time Joey and Jean-Claude Magnum teamed up in a tag duel against Yusei and Jack. Such a classic anime event. But I don't remember him being the... Okay, I remember seeing him, like... Okay, I remember the guy from, like, the original Yu-Gi-Oh franchise, but... Honestly, he's, like, nowhere near as, like, memorable as, like, a lot of the other cast, so I didn't even remember, like, what deck he was playing, Jean-Claude. Apparently he plays ninjas? And Cygnus, the Emissary of the Evil Eye. Got a level 3 Dark Spellcaster here. You can target 1 Evil Eye card in your graveyard, except this thing. Add it to your hand, then you can special summon it if it is a monster, which you can only do hard once per turn. Nothing else to really see here. It's an Evil Eye card. I do not remember the last time I saw people playing Evil Eye. It is a deck. I've seen it a few times. It's not a meta deck. It is a deck, though. And this is just a perfectly, like, realistic, believable card. Nothing to see here. Eternal Knight Timaeus. That is going to be hard to summon. So you need to control 4 specifically named monsters to even summon this thing. Legendary Knight Timaeus, Legendary Knight Critias, Legendary Knight Hermos, Legendary Knight Shiamus. Must be special summoned from your extra deck by sending the above cards you control to the graveyard. Unaffected by spell or trap effects. Your opponent's monsters cannot activate their... Okay. Your opponent's monsters can't activate effects except during the battle phase. Okay, maybe that is good. Sure. This card's attack and defense each become equal to the number of water monsters sent to the graveyard for this effect. Which effect? There's no effect that sends water monsters to the graveyard. So it's just gonna have no stats all the time, huh? Unaffected by... No, your opponents can't use monster effects, but 0/0 stats. And I can't imagine how hard this thing would be to actually, I don't know, summon in the first place. So close, yet so far. Yeah, Floodgate, but one that you could just be run over by, I don't know, run over with using, I don't know, literally any monster in battle. Pretty sure Seamus is a water type, meaning we get a 10-star 1/1 Floodgate. Okay. I already love this card for the name and haven't even read the card yet. So here we have... Oh, fuck! We got a normal trap. If you have no cards in your extra deck face up, well, unless you're playing pendulums, you're always going to have no cards in your extra deck face up. Draw 1 card for each foolish card with different names in your graveyard. Someone actually just looked up... Yeah, someone actually just looked up all of the cards with foolish in their name. Psychokinetic energy here. Deduce that the maximum card draw off of this is 5. Which is just, yeah. 5 cards would just win you the game. But you would need to have all of Foolish Burial Goods, Extra Foolish Burial, Foolish Return, and Foolish Revival all would have to be in the graveyard. So it's not like you gotta just... It's not like you get the 5 cards for free. You would have to work for it. The restriction only really matters if you're playing Pendulums. Are you really not allowed to say fuck at Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournaments? Aside from the name, I do think this is a real Yu-Gi-Oh! Card. But, yeah, this is by far, like, my favorite part of the card is the name. It just fucking cracks me up, dude. Abyssian Sweethearts. So cute, I want to just pinch their cheeks already. God, I just want to like take one of them and start pinching their cheeks and hear her squealing. Just so cute. Alright, so it's an aqua flip monster. That means it's already bad, right? If it's a flip. Flip, you can send 1 water monster from your deck to the graveyard. If this card is sent from the hand or deck to the graveyard, you can special summon 1 level 4 water monster from your deck. Okay, okay. Except Abyssian Sweethearts. We're not even really playing this for the flip effect now, are we? We're sending this from hand or deck to the graveyard? Okay, maybe, I don't know. Maybe more likely the hand? I don't know, especially if you're playing like Mermails and Atlanteans. Yeah, because with like the recent support they've been getting, I think a little bit... Did they get some support in Rhoda? I know they got quite a bit of support in Supreme Darkness. To a point where, yeah, we actually see it as a viable meta deck now. Yeah, I actually do run into it a few times. It is a viable deck. I think the one thing that it really seriously has going for it, Mermail Atlantean right now, is just the ability to just hand rip your opponent if they go first. Yeah, there's one card that can just... They actually kind of go like... No, they go like -2 to do this with Deep Sea Minstrel, but they get to look at your hand so they know what's in your hand, and more notably, they can rip a card out of it for the turn, so... Let's just say you want to like nib them, you can't, because they'll just rip it out of your hand with Deep Sea Minstrel. And if they have exactly 5 water monsters in their graveyard, with a deck that's all water attribute, that's not too hard to do, just if you sequence your plays right, you can play Moonlit Glacier and just force your opponent to discard 2 random cards. Okay. And then your opponent's basically just starting with like, I don't know, only 3 plus the card they draw instead of 5. I wonder if Moonlit Glacier is gonna get banned anytime soon. It just feels like all the cards that hand rip get hit on the ban list because that is just such a powerful effect, for one thing. So many cards that hand rip that just come to mind and they're all forbidden. Wonder if I feel like maybe eventually Moonlit Glacier could join them. I'm only saying could because it's not like Mermail Atlanteans just taking over the metagame. I'm just saying it could be banned for similar reasons. We have cards like Confiscation, Forceful Sentry, Delinquent Duo, Trap Does Shoot, even frickin' a Pointer of the Red Lotus, all at 0. Okay, so these cuties are from Rush Duel, right? I didn't even think of it. You could actually go summon the water barrier statue and just, if your opponent's not playing water monsters, try and lock him out of the game. Yeah, funny how people are mentioning, yes, mermails, and I'm also thinking Atlanteans. Not a mermail doesn't do anything for them, but... Yeah, I think Atlanteans are also just... Which one is it? Or do they both, like, send cards from hand or deck to graveyard or something to pay costs? Yeah, thinking about it now, this would actually be, like, I'm thinking about it now, this might actually be absolutely terrifying to just let Mermail Atlantean start playing this. I'm just thinking about it now. You can send this from hand or deck to the graveyard somehow, and then, I don't know, just add to your end board like a water barrier statue that just makes it so if your opponent's not playing water monsters, they can't special summon anything. The queer rep we deserve. Oh, Cheerleman's Rhino Heart. You could technically send that too. I'm just still thinking, oh no, the water barrier statue. While this card is goated, it does require a very specific ban to... Yeah, this exactly. Requires a very specific ban to not be toxic. No, like the one on the top right especially, just so fucking pretty. I could just literally sit here for like, I could just sit here for the rest of the stream probably and just start gooning over the one on the top right. But I do want to look at some more like AI cards. Flaunderies and Diarrhea. These are just some random AI-generated Flaunderies names. Oh, it keeps going, right? Okay, it's not like Flaunderies monsters. I want a more Flaunderies and insert word here. Want to see just how stupid it could have gotten. Worm, Lusty of the Yang. Buster Blader, Extra Secretary of the Law, Buster Blader, Flutist for the Burning Abyss, Buster Blader, Sniper for the Black Heavens, Buster Blader, Twin Tank, Girl, Sniper for the Black Heavens, indeed goes extremely hard. Maybe I'll just do like one more card for tonight. I'll actually just look at one more of these AI cards and then just call it a night. Jam Compaction. Activate only as Chain Link 3 or higher. During your main okay, you can only activate this during your own main phase, right? Chain Link 3 or higher. I don't think that's still like too hard to actually do. Let's just say you do something and your opponent responds with some, I don't know, a hand trap. Let's just say you go search your deck, your opponent ashes you. That's already Chain Link 2, and then you can chain this as Chain Link 3 and then activate it. Reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, then special summon as many of the revealed cards as possible, but not more than the Chain Link number of this card. Also plays the rest on the top of the deck in random order. You cannot activate this card other than as Chain... Well, we already got that out of the way at the beginning. Activate only as Chain Link 3 or higher. I was about to just go, okay, this is actually broken. It's special summoning from the deck, but... It's special summoning 3 monsters from the deck, but okay. It is still actually left up to random chance here. Maybe it is not so busted after all. Why do we need 2 separate? Can only activate this as Chain 3 senses. We don't. Yeah, this guy imagining himself in the desert dying of thirst here. We got Gentle Ice. Gender, okay, she, they, or he, could be any of these. Got them imagining themselves dying in the thirst, dying in the desert, dying of thirst out in the middle of nowhere. Finally find a water fountain, and then this is what comes out. Hard condition, but yeah, not too hard. And then I read it and I was like, okay, this isn't actually that busted. You do actually have to jump through a couple hoops to make this work. And the payoff, well, depending on like what you actually reveal, might be like literally non-existent if you hit 3 spells and traps. Or maybe like you hit monsters that can't be special summoned just by any means. And what if you just hit monsters that aren't really gonna help you out too much anyways? I don't know, I think best case scenario you get some really good monsters with really good effects. You get like 3 monsters and you have like, I don't know. I guess maybe worst case scenario, if you hit like 3 monsters with this, you'll have 3 extra link materials. But again, this is tied to random chance, which is why I'm saying it's not like completely like broken or anything. It probably wouldn't be super broken. You could just completely whiff on this anyways and get like no payoff. Have to jump through the hoops or even, I don't know. What if you never do get an opportunity to activate this anyways in the first place because there is some restriction on it? I don't know, it just feels like just the right amount of silliness I'm looking at here. Yep. Before I go, yeah, it absolutely like would date the one in the top right corner. I have to wonder what her personality would be like, but she looks like someone who like knows like what a good time would be like. She looks like someone who knows how to have a good time. Yeah, I'm just gonna end the stream here. I guess, I don't know. Maybe in a couple more days I might just continue looking at the AI-generated Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I mean, I really do want to just continue looking at a bunch of these and reacting to them. I don't know, what the hell is going on with this one here? Why are those link arrows in the middle of the card?